Well, viewers, I've had a brain fart, and it involves using baking paper. Some of you may know it as parchment paper. G'day viewers, fellow gold refiners, gold lovers in general. Welcome back to my series of refining recovery without the use of nitric acid, or with as little as possible used. I hope you are enjoying this series. I'm trying to make as many as I can think of. In the comments, please leave me a request if there's something that you want to see. I may already be in the process of making it, or I may not have thought about it. So let's carry on with another one from the series. Okay viewers, so in this video I'll be doing gold corner bga tops. I'm going to give you a way to see what I start with, but it's not going to be very accurate because a lot of these have got the copper tops on them. So by the time they're heated and the tops are taken off, you're going to end up with a lot less material. I've tried taking these off now and no luck. I find it easier when they're burnt. So we'll do what I can. I've got the scale set up here, so I'll get weighing. Okay. See if I can do this one-handed. Tip these into here. Okay, so that's them. So what we ended up with is 254 grams, so a quarter of a kilo. I'm going to be using the fire to do a different video as well, so I like to make the most of the fire while it's going. So I'll have two tins in the fire. One will be this one and one will be the other video. All will be explained. For me, it's about saving money. So one of my friends is drunk and just fell over. You sit up and watch. Yeah, so while I'm using the wood to burn, while I'm burning the wood, I might as well get the most out of it and do a couple of videos at once. You'll probably see me do that in quite a few of my videos. So the first one I'm going to do is this. I'll weigh this up. I'll get this started, and I'll weigh the next one up and get that in the same fire. Alright, so I've got the fire going. I'll wait till there's some coals, so that when I put the tins in there, they're actually sitting on the coals. And then stack the wood. We've got bigger chunks of wood stacked around it. Well, the BGAs, gold corner BGAs, have all been roasted, and they're now inside my dolly pot. So I'm going to crush them, filter them, put them through a kitchen strainer, and then gravity separate all the ash from the gold. Then we can process it. It's pretty hard for me to hold the camera and do this. Basically, it's got a big car axle, truck axle in my dolly pot, which is just a round tube. I welded a base to it. Sorry, my finger getting in the way there. And it's just a matter of smashing it up and down, crushing it all up to ash, dust. So I'll carry on and show you when it's done. There's a little bit in the bottom there which I'll get out in a minute, but a lot of it's crushed, as you can see, to a powder. And I'm just going to separate it from any bits like copper. These were the copper tops. You can see why I couldn't just peel them off before, because it's not only a round disc, it's also got this frame which was embedded through the ceramic. So now I can separate them, make sure there's no gold stuck to them or anything like that. And these would go in my stock pot. What I could do if I wanted to is keep them aside, and when I get a large enough amount, melt them into a bar of some sort. But I'll just put them in my stock pot for now, and I'll pick all those out and then keep sieving this. Anything that doesn't go through the sieve I'll put back in the dolly pot and crush it some more. Now I've got quite a few copper plates out of it. So like I said, this is going to affect the yield when you looked at the beginning start weight because of all this copper. This is what hasn't been crushed, and a lot of it's due to the fact that there's IC chips. What do you call it? Not IC chips. I can't even talk today. The glass chips in them, I can't even think what they're called. You know what I mean? The little glass bits in there. But also because a lot of this copper would have stopped it from being pulverized. I've cleaned this out the best I can. Now this will go back in there. For another smashing. And the circuit dies is what I was talking about, the glass dies. So I'll give that a crush now, and then whatever doesn't pass through here next time will probably be just the glass dies, and then I can start processing it. Alright, so I'm going to gravity separate the ash using the hose. I'm not going to go into any detail because I just made the video, so check that out. Basically just squirting this down, letting it settle, pour the ash into here, keep doing that. Once that's full, pour this off, and the sediment that's in the bottom will go back into here. Keep doing that until the water's clean. Okay, so I've gravity separated all the ash away from the gold corner BGA remnants. This is what's left over, and now it's time to put that in a beaker and start processing it. I just cleaned the beaker, I put the residue in the bottom, and when I squirted out the bucket to make sure I got it all out, I used distilled water. I want to replace any normal water that would have been amongst all that residue with distilled water. Otherwise, when I process it, we get a lot of silver chloride forming. I don't want that. So I'm letting this settle in case there's any silver particles in solution. I'll pour it off and I'll give it 2 or 3 rinses with distilled water before I start processing it. All the tap water's been removed. Now just distilled water in there, and I put some nitric acid in there. I know I'm trying to do this without using nitric, but there's some steps that just can't be skipped. When you start skipping steps, that's when you have problems. I want this as clean as possible, so I use the nitric to dissolve all the copper and silver and everything else, and then I'll have a nice clean mix of aqua regia with gold. Now I'll be able to use the bleach for the aqua regia, but I've got to go through this step first. So I've only used a tiny bit of nitric and just add it as I need it. Each time the reaction stops, add a bit more. This part is the most crucial part. You definitely need to make sure you rinse out all the nitric acid, because it's got the copper in it and the silver in it, and you want all the contaminants out. Otherwise, when we go and dissolve the gold, if we don't get all the contaminants out, we're going to put them into the gold. So we want to thoroughly rinse it over and over and over. The more you do now, the purer the gold will be. That's at about 5 rinses now. That should be okay. some of the light residue has gone over, and so whatever's in the filter I'll put back in here. Alright, so the filter with the gold corner BGA residue has gone back into the beaker, and I've put real poor man's aqua regia, which is hydrochloric acid and bleach. Got it on a low heat, and just going to give that time now to dissolve the gold, add more bleach if I need to when the reaction stops. Can't see a reaction now because I've only just put it in there. So this is a perfect example of why the previous step of rinsing before starting aqua regia is so important. This is the gold corner BGAs. Look how nice and orange the solution is. Now right next to it I have RAM BGAs at the same level, they're both at the same stage, but I didn't rinse that properly, and look at the colour of it. So that's going to have copper and all kinds of things in there, which is going to give me dirty gold, whereas this should produce some nice clean gold. Alright, if you look at this one here, all the solution has finally filtered through. Looks really nice. There's a little bit of residue in there, that's the last bit that I'm filtering. I'm going to put some SMB, but I'm going to put it in the beaker first and dissolve it. It doesn't matter if you do it either way, but this is how I like to do it. I'm expecting there to be a bit of gold in there, so I'll make sure I put enough of this. I'll put 4 spoons in for now. I always do a stannous test later to see if I've got it all, if I need to add more. And the best thing about using bleach is I don't need to denox the solution. Alrighty, so we should get a nice reaction out of this, hopefully. Didn't get brown straight away like I thought, but it will in time. I was just hoping for an instant reaction, since there should be at least 5 grams of gold in there. But gold also drops easier from a diluted solution, which is half the reason why I put the SMB in water. So I'm just going to put a bit more water in there. This is distilled water. And I'll give it a bit of a stir. Given the fact that the stannous test went black so quickly, that's why I really thought there'd be a fast reaction. But it doesn't matter, it'll go. Slowly changing. I don't know if you can tell, it's getting darker already. Mainly around this area it's getting darker. This is real time. I don't know how to do a time lapse, so just have to watch it as it happens. See, it's gone from a bright orange to light brown. So if anyone wants to know why it didn't go fast, I don't know. Sometimes the solutions do change really quick. Usually when there's lots and lots of gold. You can see it's changing slowly. Just have to give it some time. It's like watching paint dry, so I think I'll cut the film now and come back in a few minutes. So I put it on the heat. There's a tip for you guys, it helps the gold to settle and also boils off any SMB. There's a little bit in the bottom there. I was hoping for more, but gold's gold. Hopefully it'll be nice and dense. So I turn it off now and let it cool down. You can see it's settled quite nice. And I'm going fishing, so I'll be back later to filter it. So it's time to pour this liquid off. You see the gold settled nicely on the bottom. And I always pour the liquid off into another vessel because little fragments of gold that you can't see will settle over time. Once I've poured it off, I'm going to put this gold into a small beaker so I can dry it. Now I'm not going to put the gold through the wash process because, like all the other gold I've got inside, it needs to be washed and processed. This is going to get refined at a later stage. So once it's dry, I'll weigh it up and then put this with all the rest of the gold I've got inside. Alrighty, so I'll be back when that's dry. Well viewers, I've had a brain fart and it involves using baking paper. Some of you may know it as parchment paper. So what I'm going to do, I've got the gold in this beaker, and every single time I've tried drying gold in a beaker, and every time I've seen other people on videos drying gold in the beaker, it always sticks to the glass. There's always a little bit you can't get out. So in my brain fart, I thought if I was to dry the gold on baking paper, it shouldn't stick. As you can see, I've formed a mold with the paper around a dish. I know you're supposed to use the smooth waxy side, but I couldn't tell the difference either side, and one side wasn't shinier than the other and it wasn't smoother than the other, so I don't know if I've got it right. But I'm going to pour the gold into there, then I can place the paper on the hot plate and hopefully dry it and it not stick. Alright, so I'll use my little squirt bottle here. There's a nice pile of gold. So now that I've rinsed that in, I'll let it settle. I'll get a pipette and try and remove some of the water. Then I'll place this on the hot plate. Apart from the dish, I'll take this out of the dish, put it on the hot plate, and see if it makes any difference drying it. Well, my brain fart didn't work. I don't understand how, but it's just eaten right through the paper. I only had it on number 1, very low heat. So I'm going to have to wet it, squirt it back into the filter, into the beaker, and start again. And this time just do it in the beaker. But I really thought this would work. It was worth a try. You never know. Could have been a new thing, but no. So I'll do that now. I'll put it back in the beaker and start drying it. Well, there's bits of gold on there, as you can see, that wouldn't come off, and now there's all paper and everything in amongst this. So I've decided I'm going to put a little bit of hydrochloric acid with bleach in here, try and get all the outside dissolved, everything that's on there dissolved, and then I'll pour that into here and re-dissolve this so I can remove all the paper and then drop the gold a second time. It's kind of like a refine, but I haven't done the wash procedure, so it's not going to be really a refine, if you like. I just reclaim the gold, so I'm going to have to do that now and start all over again. I've re-dissolved the gold and now I'm filtering it, ready to drop the gold again, back to square one. I dropped the gold from these gold corner bgas no more than 5 minutes ago. Normally I used to wait overnight for the gold to settle, but since I've learnt to do this, I boil it off, it settles so quick, 5 minutes. and you can see the gold has settled. I'm back to the stage where I was before, and I'm going to dry it the old-fashioned way. I still don't understand why the baking paper didn't work. I mean, the baking trays in the oven get bloody hot. If it can handle that, and I don't know why it couldn't handle this, because I only had it on a very, very low heat. Maybe that's something I'll mess around with in the future and try and get it working, but for now, looks like the old-fashioned way. So this is the best part of the whole process, weighing the gold. Now, there's my gold from other videos. This will go into there. So, taking into account there was all that copper and that there's still some in the beaker. Someone who's good at maths can tell me if this was a good deal. .69 grams from Gold Corner BGAs. That's always fun, even if it's only a small amount, but I hope you found this video enjoyable. Please like and share and all that good stuff. Thanks for watching. I'll see you on the next one. Bye. Okay viewers, so I was just editing this video and it dawned on me that my amount of gold was on par with the stats, because by the time the copper was removed there was a lot less than 1/4 of a kilo, and Gold Corner BGAs produce between, well, say 8-10 grams of gold per kilo. It would have been a lot less than 1/4 of a kilo, so a little bit shy of 2 grams is up there with the recommended amount. So just thought I'd throw that in there before the end of the video. Thanks again for watching. Bye.